This episode contains strong language from the start. Hello and welcome to Life in Stereo, the show where we explore life through the music that shapes us. Each episode I sit down with our guests to talk about albums, songs and gigs that mean the most to them. The ones that bring back memories, make us feel and even changed who we are. I'm Matthew and I'm your host, and today's guest is someone who sits right at the intersection of storytelling, sports and conversation. Lou Olsen is one half of the brilliant Hall of Very Good podcast, a show that celebrates the unsung heroes, cult favourites and brilliantly memorable names from the world of baseball. He's also the brains behind a sci-fi original podcast where curiosity and conversation take centre stage in a completely different way. Lou's someone who clearly loves stories behind the stats, the people behind the performances, and that is what makes him a perfect guest for the show. Lou, welcome to Life in Stereo.
Thank you, Matt. That was a very nice intro. I'm very flattered. That was delightful. Sci-Fi Original Podcast. I'm proud you even mentioned it because we haven't done an episode in like 2-3 years.
But it's still a good
lot of
fun re-listen.
It is a fun time, and we've talked about ways to bring it back thanks to AI. I did have AI script 2 episodes, like full scripts or two full movies, and it was delightful to read. But I don't know that I want to promote AI necessarily that way because I do love writers and I want writers to continue to work. It was a funny concept because then we would just read it. We would get our friends to act as parts for it. So we've talked about ways to bring it back. We have, but as of now, it's just a fun thing that we did. That would still work, by the way, today.
Oh, 100%. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should have people write in with like short stories that could be just turned into
I'd love it.
these 30-minute little radio
Yeah.
plays. That'd be
I do
awesome.
love you are right about my love of storytelling. I love a good story. I love hearing them. I love being around people who are good storytellers. So yeah. I'm in.
Excellent. And for those that are curious about these podcasts, the Hall of Very Good and the
Mhm.
sci-fi one, sci-fi is spelled Phy.
So it's PSYPHY.
Yeah,
That is for copyright reasons,
of course.
pretty much
Yeah.
exclusively.
But all the links will be
Um,
in the show notes for those
sure.
that are curious.
Yeah. Luckily, I don't have to worry about it because we never made a penny on that show. So luckily, we don't really have to worry about it. But it was always a
No.
just in case thing. But I am still available if they want to call to make any of those into real feature films.
Yeah, we
So
don't do this for the money. We do it for the love of the
yeah, you're
chat.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's
But a
just for the
paycheck
love of creation.
would be nice.
It wouldn't be the worst thing. Yeah.
Oh no,
No,
definitely.
I mean, it'd be all right.
Lou, how's your week been? Has it been more baseball talk or has it been more live talk for
Yeah,
you?
I mean, so with I mean, the World Baseball Classic, I mean, makes it a baseball week. I hadn't really been since you don't, I don't want to. I'm really excited to talk about like music and stuff with you, but we can talk about it a little bit. The World Baseball Classic is a magical thing. The first year that it happened, I didn't approve. I was against it.
I
And
remember you being
ever
quite vocal about that on your podcast.
I was in fact, and again, so it's on record, but I also have long since on record changed my tune and said that I have grown to love it and find it to be one of the great displays of baseball, for on a global stage.
Hmm.
And so I've really been enjoying it. But I tell you what, I'm already in mid-season form. I know you didn't watch, but last night the U.S. played Great Britain. It was a really good game until until the Great Britain pitcher, whose name escapes me. I watched Harry Ford set up on the outside half of the plate, and I
Hmm.
watched him wind up, and I watched his release point, and I said from the kitchen, I said, "Uh-oh." My wife was sitting in front of the TV, and she goes, "What?" And Kyle Schwarber hit the home run. I knew from the release of his hand that he threw it too far inside, that it had crept in. And I thought, uh-oh. And I said out loud, uh-oh. And then Kyle Schwarber hit home run. So I'm already in mid-season form of watching baseball and knowing what's coming before it happens. So that's nice to know. But I do think that Great Britain, I do think they're a good team. They just had kind of one bad inning last night against the
Yeah,
Americans.
yeah.
That's
It tends to be the way. It's just one or two things just doesn't go right, and then
yeah,
it's catch up, and
yeah.
more often than not, they're always trying to
But
chase. But
I would imagine it's good for baseball in the country just in general. Again, just to see it, on that stage and
Yeah,
Even
it's a
though
shame it doesn't get as much coverage. Like, there's not really anything been mentioned on the news that I've seen or
mm,
on Sky Sports that I'm aware of. I
that's
could be wrong,
interesting.
but
It
yeah,
is
it
here.
doesn't
It's
get.
very big here in America. Like in our
Mm,
country, it's very big right now. It's on a lot of televisions and it's yeah, it's a much bigger thing here
yeah,
currently. But so I'm sad to hear that.
yeah.
But
We
also the
invented the
time,
damn sport.
yeah, isn't that something?
Yeah,
Isn't that something?
I mean, you took it and ran with it and made it into
I
what it is
mean,
today. But
yeah, we converted it into whatever it is now, but like, there's the banana version and there's all these other
oh,
versions.
God bless
Uh,
Savannah Bananas.
I love the bananas.
I was
Yeah,
on
it
a
would.
when I was doing the British baseball podcast. I was invited onto another podcast to talk about baseball and British baseball, and I was asked if I could change one thing, what would it be? And I think I mentioned I'll get rid of grey uniforms because I think they're miserable. But my real answer, after I thought about it, after the recording
Sure.
stopped, was I would have the Savannah Bananas. Now, for those that listen that don't know who the Savannah Bananas baseball team are, it is like part circus, part baseball, and it's
Yeah.
just a show. It's just exhibition, flair, flamboyance, fun is
I'm
what I
glad
call
you
it. It's
said
fun.
exhibition and fun because
Mm,
again, it's like it is we Sean, my partner and I, we've interviewed many members of the Savannah Bananas. We're very friendly with them. We have been for many, many years. And one of the things that I think was told to us by I think Jesse Cole, the owner himself, was, it's sort of like the Harlem Globetrotters, if you're familiar with that reference,
perfect.
except in the Savannah Bananas, the Harlem Globetrotters don't win every night,
No,
right? It's the experience only exists for the fans,
yeah,
and that's why I think again for those of you listening, your audience probably doesn't care about American baseball, but right now the Savannah Bananas are rising, while I feel like a Major League Baseball is kind of sliding
yeah.
backwards a bit in
Uh-huh.
popularity, and I think it's because the Bananas focus on the fans and having fun and like it being an interactive experience. It's very cool. I'm very fortunate. I've been able to go twice. I've been able
Oh,
to see
cool.
two different Savannah Banana. I'm going to try to go this summer if I can figure it out. I'm
Mm.
going to try to go this summer too. So it's if you ever get a chance, it's a very unique experience
Yeah,
for sure.
but my thing that would change in Major League Baseball is I'd have the Bananas come in for a team that's either struggling
Sure.
or is just in a poor slump. They can play the
Yeah.
banana card, get the Bananas in there for a
Sure.
game or two, or for a series,
Yeah.
and just let them do it. I mean,
Be
who doesn't
fun.
want to see it? Is it a picture on stilts? You got players on stilts. If you
Oh,
don't
sure.
believe
We
me,
know.
go on
We've
YouTube
talked to
and
him before.
yeah,
He's great, great guy. Great. They're all such nice. They're all such good people. They're all such kind, good people. Hey, tell you what, I'll get behind your gray uniform, my dear, as long as we can swap it from gray to powder blue. Because I love the powder blues. They always
yeah,
look
powder
so
blues
nice.
always look good. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it's
yeah.
like
All right.
if
Deal.
you're looking at like soccer or footy,
Hmm.
whatever you want to call it, they always
Hmm.
have alternate. They have a home kit and away kit. Then one's bright and colourful, and the other could be bright and colour. As long as it's not the same colours and clash, then it's fine. Just like in the NHL, apart from they don't have white and multicoloured.
Sure.
Just be inventive. I'm sick of these athletes looking like they're going to a board meeting. Anyway, that's enough of that. I think we've already lost the two listeners, and one of them's my mum,
Right.
and we're still
I don't
trying to
want that. I don't
turn
want
off
that.
off the radio. No, I'm only kidding. But if you're still with us, Lou, like we've just been talking in the intro, is part of two podcasts. One which is on hiatus for however long Lou decides, and the other one which is a continuous, ongoing. It's brilliant, great storytelling. But Lou, what was the first podcast that you listened to that made you think, do you know what, I can do this myself?
Oh, that's right. That was see. So I read these questions last week when you sent them,
Don't
and
give away the magic.
oh,
Don't give
come
away the
on.
magic.
Am I not supposed to give away all right, cut that. Cut that. Cut
Nah, it's fine.
cut that out. No. So, well, no, it's good because I don't fully remember. So it is really off the cuff for me in a way. Ah, the first one that really convinced me that I could do it. I'll tell you what, it wasn't one that I heard. It was actually someone else. So it was there was a time where I wasn't a podcaster, I was a writer.
Mm,
I started writing for a website called Reviewing the Brew, which still exists to this day. It's run by the fan-sided sports network, and I was the editor. And two of the younger guys came to me and they were like, "We want to do a podcast." So they did a podcast for our website, and they had me on a few times, and it seemed pretty straightforward. It seemed like something that I could handle. from it. I'm an elder millennial for everyone at home. So like it seemed from a technology standpoint like something I could definitely handle, which sometimes I can't. Sometimes there's technology that's too advanced for me. I can't, I can't quite grasp it. This seemed like I could. So it was probably that. So from that, I did a podcast with my very, very good friend Ben Orr. Hello, Ben. He might listen to this. There's a chance. Ben loves music. You might get a new listener out of this. But Ben and I did a show called The News Chew, which was just he and I scouring the internet looking for really weird stories for us to talk about. And this was in the very early days of podcasting. Everybody didn't have a podcast then. So like that format was still unique. And then the thing that I liked about that the most, though, and I think you'll appreciate this as someone who loves movies, is we did an Oscar special every year.
Yeah.
And it was my favorite show. And what we would do is like I would make up movie games to play. And that came from a podcast. The first podcast I really fell in love with was one called Doug Loves Movies, which is a very stupid movie podcast. It's just a stand-up comedian named Doug Benson who likes movies, and he like would make up these games, and it inspired me to make up movie games for that, and so I loved doing that. And then we eventually ended that show, and then I started doing the Hall of Very Good with Sean. Our 500th episode, boy, it'll be by the time this airs, it'll be right around the corner. It'll be real close.
Yeah.
So we've been at it for 10-ish years at this point. So again, we were podcasting since way before, it was the super cool thing to do. We just got sick of writing, honestly. It was a laziness thing. It's much easier to talk than
All right.
to transcribe, right? Because we were doing interviews through transcription, through recording interviews and then typing them out. We didn't have AI. This was 10, 12, 14 years ago. We didn't have AI to transcribe for us. So this was way easier. So that's kind of the thing there. And then the Sci-Fi Original Podcast came from years of me loving sci-fi movies, right? Like Sharknado is the most famous one that people will kind of think of, or things like that. And
Birdemic.
I always said that I was very confident that if you took me and my friends and you gave us like those three topics, that we could write one of those in 30 minutes. And so my thing was basically treating it like a science project, which was, is that true? Could I do that? And spoiler alert, yeah, we did like 20, like 25, 26 times. We were like 25, 26 sci-fi movies. And so for me, podcasting is sort of it's a way to sort of express your creativity like you're doing here and like you did on your last podcast, right? It's sort of a way to tell stories, to express some of your creativity, to do something, a little bit different.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah,
I
indeed.
know you know.
I know. What made you want to celebrate the Hall of Very Good rather
hmm
than just the Hall of Fame?
I think that the Hall of Very Good is much more interesting. I think that baseball, again, and I know that every country will have different sort of variations of this, but I think baseball is very unique in America in that there's a very dark underground past about baseball. There's a lot of stories that Sean and I have told over the years that are now a bit more commonplace. But at the time, I remember when we first started telling the Glenn Burke story, it was really it was not talked about.
Mm.
And that's a story that has always been very important to us. A lot of the women's professional baseball league stories, right? I knew, most people know the movie, A League of Their Own, right? With Gina Davis and Tom Hanks. It's very famous here, probably is over there. It's a great movie, but, that's about the extent of it. They don't realize some of the difficulties and the struggles that women went through. And the Negro Leagues is really, that's probably the thing that keeps me going the most is the Negro League stories. That's
Yeah.
the history that I worry about the most. There are very few pictures from that era. A lot of that history is kind of dying with those players as they leave us. And so I'm very proud of Sean and I as, pardon the expression, but as homebred white boys to sort of use our platform to try to tell those stories as often as we can and
Yeah.
to talk to Bob Kendrick, he's one of the
Mhm.
most regular guests that we have on the show. In fact, we're trying to get him back on right now. And like, I think that stuff is what's interesting to me and what keeps me going. I don't like everybody's heard certain baseball stories. Those aren't interesting anymore.
Yeah.
I'm much more interested in hearing about, you know, random Milwaukee Brewers players getting mailed Madonna's undergarments at hotels, right? That's much more fascinating to me. That's a much more interesting thing to me to bring it back to music, right? those stories are way more fascinating to me than the same old, I don't even know what to relate it to, Nolan Ryan, so many strikeouts. Like,
Mm,
yeah, we could tell those stories again, but I would much rather do what we do the way that we do it. And sometimes we do weird ones and they don't always work. It's, you can't win them all, Maddie,
no.
but like I do think that we do a nice job of trying to tell those interesting stories and trying to give people who might otherwise not get a platform to share.
Yeah, I agree. And to be honest with you, it was one of the inspirations for my British baseball podcast early on. I took a lot of it, like there's Jason and John doing ball cats and
Oh,
bagpipes
sure.
up in
Yeah,
Scotland,
yeah.
and yourselves, and it was those underdog stories and, like you said, then documenting historical events and getting those stories down in a
Yeah.
platform that most people will be able to get access to. And yeah, it was great to be able to interview so many people and get those stories.
Hmm.
And it was I do miss it every now and then, but I think it was the right time for me to step away
Yeah,
when I did.
yeah, yeah. Again, so I know I don't want to make anyone sad, but someday Sean and I will stop. Someday the ride will end and that'll be the end of it. But before that ends, I think that there are still a few more stories for us to scrape up. There's
Oh,
still some
definitely.
folks around that are worth telling their stories, and you know, it's it's good for the soul too, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys I don't know if you've heard things are scary over here.
What?
I yeah, I don't know if you've heard, and I won't say the name of the man responsible because I know that that's a forbidden word on this show, and it should
Mm-hmm.
be a forbidden word across the globe. So yeah, I won't mention it, but yeah. So I don't know if you knew that, but so now more than ever, right, telling those stories and being someone who is still willing to tell those stories and still being able, like I take great pride in that
Yeah.
still. I'm not afraid. And if I was, I would stop.
Yeah.
So, yeah, yeah.
What have you learned about people through podcasting that surprised you?
It's a really good question. I think that probably the biggest thing is that everybody just wants to be, everybody just wants to talk to you,
Mm,
and the truth is that so Sean and I have very different philosophies, and I know you have a different podcasting philosophy than the two of us have. So Sean really over prepared. Sean's very prepared, and I love that about him. He's a very meticulous, really good preparer. I don't prepare at all. um, but that's because I really like to engage in the conversation and then allow the guests to talk about the things that they want to talk about because
yeah.
that's usually where some of the most fun stuff comes from. Like we just had Mo Vaughn on. Now, again, that's not going to be for your listeners, that's not going to be a household name. But for me growing up in the 90s, Mo Vaughn was like, he was a big deal, man. He was this big power. He was Big Poppy before Big Poppy, right? He was a big first baseman for the Red Sox who was just a big masher of home runs. And he seemed genuinely surprised at how much fun he had talking to us. And I do think that what I have found is that when you just talk to people like you're already friends, like when you assume friendship, it works. That's what happens.
Yeah.
And it also works. I tell this story famously on my podcast, but it also works like in public with famous people. If you see a famous person and you walk up to them and you extend your hand and you just say, "Hey, it was great to see you. I gotta head out, but I'll see you next time." They will almost always go, "Hey, it was great to see you too." I've tried it. People have seen me do it in public repeatedly. This is a real thing and it absolutely works. So like but I do think that at the end of the day, when you treat people differently, that's kind of what you get back in return. And I really do try to treat everybody the same. I'm me all the time. The
Mm,
version of me that is on your show now is the same version of me that's on 500 episodes of this show and on that show. It's how I am in my day job. I'm never someone else. I'm always me. And sometimes to my own detriment. Right. But I think that people like that. And I think the reason we get guests to come back is because of that, is because Sean and I are both our authentic selves always.
yeah.
And
And
I
you've
think
you've had
people
repeat
like that.
guests on that and it's still fresh, like Greg Kreinler.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
and
try- we're gonna have
Andy
him.
Brown.
We're gonna have him back again. So I was just texting him the other day. I love that guy.
Yeah, it's
I
top
love
dude.
Greg.
Top dude.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Uh, i-
uh,
is there a guest that you've had on that's completely changed your perspective on something?
oh, I mean, I already mentioned him once, but Bob Kendrick has changed my perspective on life repeatedly. Um, so he's one. I think that we had a guest on who he was the first like fan we had. His name was Bill Hetrick, and he passed very kind of suddenly. He had a health problem, and he passed very suddenly. And I remember talking to his family after that, and them telling us how much like they sent us something to like that I have up on my wall, and like it's things like that more. It's more the personal relationships I think that I've learned from. Like I have a lot of friends who are way too cool for me, Matt. I have people who like me who really like I shouldn't be like they shouldn't like me, and which is very nice. But I think that I've been affected by lots of people. We had Glenn Burke's sister on. Her name is Lutha. And now, Sean and Lutha and I have this really nice relationship that means the world to me. So like there I don't know, man. I could do this forever, honestly. There are lots of when you deal with personal stories, you make a lot of personal connections that
Yeah.
extend beyond that 30 minutes that people hear. There are people who have been on the show once, but that I have been friends with for 15 years at this point. We just had a guest on who I literally have been friends for 15 years. It was his first time on the show. Ryan Woodward. I've been friends with Ryan forever. And we just had him on just for the first time. And you you do take some of that for granted, I think, but also um, it's nice. It's a nice thing to be able to talk to your friends too. And but I don't did I even answer your question? I just sort of went on a little ADHD hop shop there.
Yeah, you did. You did fine.
All
You
right.
did just fine.
All right. All right.
Um, Now, a lot of people may not know this, or well, a lot of people might not know you at all. Listen to this,
That's
but
true. Yeah, yeah.
you have a massive collection of John Stockton basketball cards.
Oh my God. You know what? I remember I got them out. Hold on.
Did you?
All right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hold on. So we're gonna do it. So this binder here, again, since this is going on YouTube, this is all John Stockton basketball cards. All of them. Every sheet.
Sweet Lord.
So that's all. So now that's all one thing. Um, now, okay, so as I'm doing this, hold on, as I'm unpackaging this, I will explain. So growing up, John Stockton was my favorite athlete, period. Not just my favorite basketball player, he was my favorite athlete, period. And he has been the majority of my life. For a long period of time, he was the only thing I collected, period. This whole box, yeah, I don't know if you can see all that.
Yeah, I can
Those are
see a lot of
all
that.
autographs, jersey patch cards, numbered cards, cutouts. This is a whole life. This is 40 years of collecting John Stock. Like so, right? So like autographed,
Ooh,
sparkly cards. I have cards from other countries. Where are the other country cards? Hold on. So like this is a card from Spain. It's a Spanish card. So the thing is, people are always wowed, and and that's not okay. And then now, Maddie, I believe I've gifted you some of these, but this is just my box of extras. So this is just the box of cards that I have extra John Stockton. So it's
yeah.
it's this is also almost full. So like, and I give these away to people all the time because I have many.
Yes, you
But
do.
I've been collecting those my whole life. But it goes beyond that, right? I have jerseys and I have an autographed basketball and I have a lot of John Stockton stuff. I have really cooled off over the last few years. I've cooled off a lot. The way sports cards are now for basketball, especially, it's just too pricey for me. The thing
Yeah.
that I liked about collecting John Stockton for song was nobody really cared. He was a guy nobody really gave much credence to. And I'm pretty sure at one point in time, again, not to toot my own horn, there was probably a time where I was a top 3 or 4 John Stockton collector in the country. I bet. I bet there was a time where that was true because I still have a lot of stuff, but I've sold a lot of my stuff to other John Stockton super collectors. So their
Yeah.
collections are stronger because of what I sold them. And I still, as you can see, I didn't even make a dent. Matt. I mean, I just showed it to everybody. I didn't even make a dent in my collection. I sold a lot to this one collector, and I barely made a dent.
Yeah,
Barely.
but just let the listeners and the watchers know, like
Hmm.
Lou very generously has sent me shoe boxes
Oh,
of sports cards
but I got another one.
from.
Look, I got another one going for you right now.
I've not finished the other one yet
You haven't
because
really?
the
Oh,
British
I got
baseball
another one.
season finished
Yeah,
over
yeah,
here. So
buddy.
what Lou did,
I still got another. I got a new one going
my
for you
wife is going
already.
to kick my ass and she's going to fly over there and kick your
Why?
ass
It doesn't
because
cost
I don't have any
you anything.
room. I don't have any
It
room,
just,
man.
buddy, it doesn't cost you anything. Ooh.
So what Lou does, because baseball cards and sports cards are quite difficult to get hold of here in the UK, he sent over these shoe boxes full of sports cards, and I've been giving them out to the kids at Manchester baseball training. As like a thank you for coming down, and just so they get some really cool cards, and it's just a great
Yeah,
way
and
I
I love that
find,
you do that. I love that you do that.
yeah, to teach the children
Yeah, it's
and the
great.
young athletes how to, like, from the poses and stuff that's on the cards, they look really great action shots. Like, that's how you're throwing a ball. This is how
Hmm.
they're holding bats, and hopefully they'll get a nice collection of cards, and they'll get some new heroes, and he'll keep them coming back week after week, bribing the children with sports cards when they don't
Sure,
want to
sure.
finish training.
I mean, look, bribery with children is sometimes the only way. I mean, but
And it's cheaper than chocolate bars,
yeah.
like you said. It
Well,
didn't cost me nothing.
this little box is more for you than for the children. But
Yeah.
tell your wife it's only because I love you and because I know that it's hard for you to get. And this time I threw in like some nice vintage stuff that I happened to
Ooh,
come across. So some older stuff. I know you like some of the
vintage.
older stuff. Yeah, I know you like some of the older stuff
The Flair
from our
96 and
childhood.
97 cards are some of my favorites.
I might have found some of that. I
Stockton's
found some
your favorite.
basketball too. I found
Oh, did you?
some nice 90s basketball for you too. Yeah, yeah. Oh
Rodman
yeah, buddy.
is my guy. Dennis
Oh,
Rodman.
I don't
Like
know.
you
I don't
said,
know if there was
Stockton was
yeah.
your favorite athlete. Dennis Rodman was mine.
Oh, there
Like, I
was
wasn't
a
even a Bulls fan, but
ooh, I think
Stockton
there
was
was
just
a
my
nice
dude.
Barkley. I think I put a nice Barkley in there for
Ooh.
sure. Anyway, yeah, yeah.
We're getting off track. Where's all this music talk? Where's the music talk gone?
Yeah, yeah, I know everybody. I'm sorry, everybody.
Speaking
It's
of
because I'm
music,
the guest. It's because I'm the
oh,
guest. I'm
sorry.
sorry, everybody.
I should
I'm
rein you in.
sorry. So good luck with that.
Yeah. As far as I'm aware, now check this out, people.
Hmm.
You, Lou Olsen, are the only person that celebrates Princemas. Now, I didn't say that wrong. It's Princemas.
That's correct.
So that
Yeah.
makes you Father Princemas.
I
What can you tell the
no.
listeners about this magical holiday and how
That
can we
so
get more recognition?
okay. So first of all, I'll explain Princemas, but then I'll explain to you why I don't think I'm the only one who celebrates it, but I might be the loudest proponent. Like I might be the loudest voice about it. Okay. So my wife and I, Christmas is cool. Christmas is fine. But we were sick of kind of the same old Christmas tree deal.
Yeah.
And we are both very large fans of the singer Prince. Again, as most people born in the 1980s, I think 70s and 80s are. And so we decided that we would decorate our Christmas tree one year was the initial plan in the style of Prince. So we did it the first year, and it was a big hit on TikTok. It's one of the few TikToks I've ever made. Was the first time we did print the Princemas tree, and we got purple and white lights through the tree, and we bought like a few ornaments that we found online, which is evidence for why I don't think we are the founders and originators. There were people on Etsy who were already making Prince Christmas ornaments. So it does lead me now. We may have created Princemas as a phrase, but I do think other people may have been celebrating Prince at the holiday season. So anyway, we started doing this, and we each year we collected a few ornaments. To now we're at a point where our whole tree is Prince Christmas ornaments. We have a Prince tree topper, but now it's escalated to where as gifts we get Princemas gifts. So I have a Princemas door ornament, like a door wreath. I have a wreath that hangs in the kitchen. I have a garland that stretches across my work desk. We have all these things now that people gift us. So now at our house, it is a full blown thing. I would encourage anyone who enjoys Prince, the singer Prince, to join us in celebrating Princemas. Here's what's nice about it now. We never had an official start date, but if you watched the TV show Stranger Things, they gave us a start date thanks to spoiler alert, thanks to using Prince in a important episode, I guess is all I'll say. Using Prince, and it's because it is a specific date.
Yeah,
I believe it's November 6th is now when Princemas officially begins, is November the 6th, and it ends on Super Bowl Sunday, of course, the anniversary of the greatest halftime performance ever
Of
given,
course.
which was done by Prince. So what my wife and I do is we put on Purple Rain, the movie, one of my favorite movies to just kind of have on, love it. And then we decorate the Princemas tree, and we do this and we put out all the Princemas stuff. Makes for a lovely day, and yeah, we do that. And I would love to start it being a thing. I would love to see other people doing it, and even in small ways to celebrate Princemas, because he really was one of the great musical talents
Yeah,
of all time.
yeah.
You know,
And as we move into the main segment of your
Mhm.
life in music, I've got a feeling that Prince might pop up a few times.
There's a good
Uh,
chance.
so, Luke,
There's a good chance.
what's the first album that you actually remember owning?
So I'll be honest with you. I don't remember the first one I really owned, but I remember the first like CD I got
Hmm.
that like when you got CDs. The first CD I got was from a band called Blues Traveler, and it was an album called Four. Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that
No.
album, but Blues Traveler was a band. They sang a song called Hook. And then, oh gosh, there's a much more popular one, and now I don't remember it. But there was a harmonica, a lot of harmonica vibes to it. But that was the first album that I ever really remember being excited to own. And it was sort of like almost like a house band with harmonica, sort of like before Matchbox 20 Vertical Horizon, right? It had that kind of poppy feel. But then this guy named John Popper, who was the lead singer, he would just rip the harmonica. So I've always kind of had a little bit of a love affair with the harmonica for weird reasons. But that was the first one that I really remember like being excited to have.
Yeah.
And still to this day, Hook has like a rap in it. The song Hook has like a rap. And I still know all the lyrics to this day. I will not do it live on the air, however.
Boo.
But
Get
you got to pay
changed.
extra. You got to pay extra for that kind of action. But I do still to this day. I still love that album, and I still like Blues Traveler quite a
How
bit.
old were you when you got that? Do you remember?
Oh boy. I would say, let's see, it would have coincided with when I got my first like boombox, which would have had a CD player. So maybe 94, 1993, 1994, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah. Sure would have been a what?
Um,
By 11?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So this would have been right before I found out. This would have been right before I went to public school and found out about grunge music and hip hop. Much to my mother's dismay. I love my mom
Uh,
very much, though. My mom deserves a lot of credit for my musical tastes, which I think are delightful. My mom and dad both, they were very open to different music, and so, you know.
that's cool.
Hmm, hmm.
I remember playing the Prodigy music for the Guilty Generation on tape that
Yeah.
I recorded
Ooh,
off a friend from
sure.
school, and there was an F bomb in like an interlude before one of the tracks.
Uh-oh.
I remember my dad was in the bath and he went mental about
Uh-oh.
it, and that's like, oh dear. And then whenever I played it, I had
Yeah,
to turn the
sure,
volume
sure.
down over the swears. I had to self-edit it myself, pretend that I don't. So,
I also, again, my parents were both, the swearing was the big thing.
mm,
I think for my parents too. It was more the swearing than necessarily the content of it. It was the cursing. So like as rap became more prevalent, I know that was hard for my mom, but she let me listen to it, bless her heart. Again, my mom and dad both were very supportive in the music landscape. They both kind of when you go through their records, you can see that they have interesting musical taste themselves.
yeah,
Like they just like me, they're a real weird spectrum of stuff. So it's their fault.
interesting. What's the first live gig you ever went to?
Oh, see, and this is going to blow people's minds too. And again, there was a time where I think I might have been ashamed of this, but I'm definitely not anymore. But Michael Bolton was the first
Oh,
like big concert I ever saw. And I loved Michael Bolton as a kid. Honestly, that might be the first album that I loved was I want to say it was maybe Michael Bolton's Timeless. See, I should have researched a little bit more on that front, on the Michael Bolton front. But I loved there was one specific album that he had that as a kid, I remember I really liked. Now, this was also at a time where my I had gotten really into Hart and Wilson Phillips. So if you're familiar with no, are you not?
no.
So Hart is a very famous rock band, Barracuda, or
Oh, of
let's see.
course. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So the Wilson sisters, they spun off of Hart and they started this group called Wilson Phillips, which is a much more poppy group. You would definitely know some Wilson Phillips if I played it for you. But I was raised, I went to Catholic school right? So my musical my musical environment was limited at that point. So, but Michael Bolton was the first big show I saw, and then I think the second big show I saw was Celine Dion. So my mom loves Celine Dion.
Did your mum take you to Michael Bolton as well?
Yeah, my parents did. I was much too young to go by myself at that point in time, but it was definitely the first show that I saw was Michael Bolton.
I need to get my mum and my dad on this show and ask him
Oh,
about that because
definitely,
I don't
dude.
remember much about
You have to, dude.
like going through
Your
record
parents' stories
collections.
about music will blow your mind. My dad tells this great story, and again, shout out to my mom and dad, who, again, I love their taste in music. But my dad tells this great story where he once went and saw uh, Billy Joel, the Billy Joel opened for Sha Na Na,
Wowzers.
which, right, which is a wild, like, wow. And so he loves to tell it. My parents have, I think my parents have great musical taste for the generation that they grew up in. I think they have
Hmm.
excellent taste in music. So, yeah.
Hmm. Right then. Luke, has there ever been a song that's made you cry?
Oh God, all the time. I think that a well-placed song in a TV show, in a movie, will get me every time. Are there songs? Is the question more like, are there songs that just every time just trigger it
I'm after a song.
more
I have it
so?
like it just one that sort of
I mean,
that stops you in this.
Purple Rain will get me if I'm in my feels. Purple Rain will really get me. And then there's a song, and this is a really obscure pull, but there's a song that I heard when I found out that my grandfather had passed. I was living in
Yeah.
Seattle. My grandfather passed. There was a song from a band called Yellow Card. When I was first living in Seattle, I was really into pop punk and like that
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
music. And I believe it's called View from Heaven.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, Apple Music will hit me with that because I still like Yellow Card. I still like it in
Yeah,
the
me
mix.
too.
It'll hit me with that song, and I will cry and it's because of that song reminds me of that kind of. It was the first song that after my grandfather passed that really hit me sort of emotionally, right? My grandfather was a very big part of my life and of my childhood, and him and my dad, are my two great heroes in life. And so, you know, it was but that's some about that Yellow Card song. The lyrics are beautiful. I'm big on lyrics. I like to listen. I'm really big on paying attention to what's being said in lyrics, and so that song will get me. That's why Purple Rain gets me too. The lyrics of Purple Rain are just such a raw sort of pain.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that'll get me.
I'm more of
Plus
an
whatever the composition is for the final scene of Cool Runnings, that shit gets me every time.
you know it. You know it. Lou, what's your hidden gem album?
Boy, that's a really good question. So I would say it's two answers. If you're looking for rock and like sort of just something a little different, there's a band called Saosin, Saosin. I got tuned into them when I lived in Seattle. They never took off, but there's something really unique about their rock sound. They're sort of a weird punk heavy metal merge.
Hmm.
I would recommend that. And then for hip hop, I would say, oh man, I don't see. I'm always nervous because I do love hip hop, but I'm always nervous because I don't know. Like to me, a hidden gem is probably different than people who really listen to hip hop a lot. I'll tell you what, just an album that I think not enough people listen to or talk about is a rapper named Schoolboy Q put out an album like 2 years ago called Blue Lips. It has a real it has a real early Outcast vibe to me.
Okay.
And Outcast is my like Outcast and Wu-Tang are like where my hip hop heart truly lies. I love Busta Rhymes too. So like that kind of 90s and Run the Jewels. Oh, I love Run the Jewels. Sorry. Now I'm going into hip hop world. But like so I do feel like there are definitely people who are way, way, way better versed to talk about hip hop than me. But I grew up in the 90s. So like it's part of, my musical
Hmm.
DNA. But Schoolboy, that Blue Lips, that album is great. I love that album. Just, you just put it on, just like those early Outcast albums. Stankonia is like one of my favorite, just like chill album. Just if I'm cleaning the house, I put that record on. We have it on vinyl, and oh, dude, I just love it, love it, love it. And that album is very, very good.
Cool.
that
What
way.
what's the name of the album from Seosin? Do you remember?
I think it's just called Seosin, if I'm being
Okay.
honest. It might be self-titled. But yeah, that's a wild, like they never took off. I always thought they would. They never did.
Hmm. Lee, what's a turning point album? One that's forever tied with personal memory or a life shift?
I'll be honest, man. I have a lot. I do kind of have a bunch of those. Um, I would say though, the first time that I heard Rage Against the Machine's Evil Empire, because again, I listened to lyrics, and I think I was in the eighth grade. And this is a shout out to my best friends from growing up. This Charlie, Dan, and Brian, my best pals from growing up. I remember us listening to it in my friend Brian's room and listening to the lyrics and understanding what Zach De La Rocha was saying and having a real revelation about who I was in a way, like what I stood for. And so a very informative moment for sure. I have a bunch though, because my life has taken weird shifts. And I've had weird instances of tragedy and trauma, just like everybody else. And so music though has always kind of been a thing that has got me through weird spaces or things where I'm feeling unstable. I always find new music in those times. So
Yeah. Lee, what's the most played album of your life so far?
if I'm being honest with myself and all of your listeners, Tenacious D's first album. If I am being dead ass honest with everybody here, I can recite that from start to finish without interruption. So it's probably that. If I'm talking about like a real album, like not a comedy music album, something that I really will sit down and listen to from start to finish the most in my life, and again, this is accounting for a lot of time in my early years, it's probably Matchbox 20, Yourself or Someone Like You. I don't know if you're familiar with that album, but that was when Rob Thomas, the Matchbox 20 boys, they were poor and they had no money and they had no love in their life. And they wrote way better music. And I still, to this day, I still really like a lot of that album. I mean, the more popular songs, I don't really, I skip past 3 a.m. and Push Now. Like those songs I could sing in my sleep, but like there's still a lot of songs on that album that
Yeah.
I still listen to a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, in my older years, it has shifted. I don't listen to that nearly as much. I think my younger years drown out a lot because of I listen to that Matchbox 20 album. Like if I pulled that thing out of my CD case, it is so aggressively destroyed. So yeah, but like I said, if we're being really honest, Tenacious D.
Yeah. What is it about Tenacious D that you love?
Um,
Or makes it so listenable for you?
there's such a beautiful stupidity to it. I I my spectrum for comedy is so vast and so aggressively weird that like something about Jack Black completely unhinged really works for me. And some of the songs on that album are legitimate bangers. Like there is some really good music in there, but a lot of it's just nonsense. And I'm a big proponent of nonsense. And I think especially now more than ever, I think we could use more of that sort of stuff, like The Lonely Island, right, from
Yeah. Yeah.
SNL. And like I think we could use more of that sort of comedy music again, because I feel like there just isn't any right now. And I feel like we could get back to that. I love Tenacious D though, and I always will, and I will never apologize for it either. I know it's very immature and it's a lot of dick and fart jokes, but I and it came out, I think it was maybe I was 17 or 18, like I was right out of high school. And so yeah, yep,
That's great.
crazy.
I think I'm with you. I love a good comedy album. I'm a big fan of Flight of the
Yeah.
Conchords,
Oh, me
and
too.
and
Love them.
there's something I don't know, like I think there's a proper art to writing a comedy album because not only have you got to try and
Yeah,
make people laugh, you got to try and make it
sure.
rhyme and be musical.
Um,
That in itself is a
there used to
skill.
be a British Axis of Awesome. Do you know Axis of Awesome?
No, no.
Oh, buddy, they're a British trio. Oh man. They wrote this great thing called Four Chords. They sing like 55 songs in 3 minutes. It's the
Oh
same
yeah,
four chords. They're a British
yeah.
group. They sing a bunch of great songs. There's another one. There's a British group, comedy group called Tripod that you should check out. They sing a song that I quote all the time, and it's about the movie King Kong. It's about Peter Jackson's King Kong, and I use it all the time when at work, I make videos at work a lot. And I say at work all the time, I go, let's get to the monkey. Because
Mhm.
they sing a song about the Peter Jackson King Kong movie, and the punchline of the song is, you can bleed this out or use it, but it's get to the fucking monkey, right? That's the whole bit, and so I use that as like a way to land the plane, get to the point, and that's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one I always use is just get to the monkey. Everybody's here to see King Kong. Just get to the monkey. And so they are out there, but they're old now. The tripod bits have got to be 15 to 20 years old, and Axis of Awesome, that's got to be enough again. So like I just feel like there isn't any of that happening right now, and I would love it. I would love it to come back.
yeah.
Because like when Lonely Island did Sushi Glory Hole, I don't know if you're familiar with that little ditty, but oh boy, do I love that song. I'm not
Right.
lying. I love me some Lonely Island. So I do wish that I think there's a big opening right now for that sort of comedy to
Yeah,
come
man.
back.
Yeah.
So
What's the best live gig you've ever seen?
oh God. It's a great question. I want to give a couple answers. I mean, honestly, pound for pound, my wife and I saw Run the Jewels and Rage Against the Machine when Rage came back. We were at the first show when Rage came back. Was that 2 summers ago? They hadn't played together in 12 years or
Oh,
whatever it was.
don't know.
We were at the very, very first show, and Run the Jewels is one of my favorite hip hop groups. So like it was really, and all of the like there were so many clips from the concert we were at that went viral because at the time there was a lot of there was a lot of bullshit going on in our country. Weird. It's such a theme around here. Anyway, so they like a lot of that went viral because of the messaging that Rage was putting up on the screen, and like it was unbelievable. What an experience that was. But then this past year, my wife and I saw Wu-Tang and Run the Jewels, and that was incredible. But then, like 2 weeks later, we went to Las Vegas and saw the Backstreet Boys at the Sphere. And the reason I'm bringing that up, Matt, is because if you can go to Las Vegas and you can see a concert in the Sphere, whether it's the Backstreet Boys, even if it's music you don't like, you're gonna need to do that. The Backstreet Boys, look, I like the Backstreet Boys just fine. I can sing, a handful of songs. It was one of the most incredible experiences, like concert going experiences I've ever had. And I can't compare it to anything because there is nothing like it. So they don't need my advertisement. Kudos to the Sphere in Las Vegas. Because again, the Backstreet Boys, you know, cool, like thumbs up. But like that place is incredible. But pound for pound, Rage, baby.
Yeah, nice. What is the most disappointing album that you've heard?
Okay. So, are you familiar with the band Sugar Ray?
Yeah.
I Just Want to Fly. Okay. On the album that has the song I Just Want to Fly, every other song is like metal. It's like almost, borderline death metal. It's like metal, heavy metal. Mark McGrath was a heavy metal singer. I know that's hard for people to fathom. Okay. So, but then there was the song Fly, which was extremely popular. It was a huge commercial success. So their next album came out, and like I went the day it came out to buy it, but I wanted the metal. And what I got was, Sunday when my life has passed me by. It was terrible. It was one of the worst albums I've ever listened to still to this day. I hated it. I still hate it. It broke my heart. And then it happened. But then you know what? Here's the thing, though, to your question in general. This is a great question. And this speaks to you as an interviewer. This is a great question because then over time, there were a ton of bands who put out one good album and then broke my heart after that. Like there's a laundry list after Sugar Ray. Like it starts to really pile up where you're like, oh, this band is great. And then they get some money. This is what I learned. They get some money and they don't write as good of music anymore. It's a weird thing, but a true thing. So, but Sugar Ray was the first time that I remember being mad that I spent money on an album. So
Hmm.
sorry, Mark. Sorry, Mark McGrath, star of Sharknado 2 and 3, I think maybe. Anyway, go Mark McGrath.
Indeed. Indeed.
Hmm hmm
Lou, give us an
hmm
artist or a record that shaped who you are.
So it's easy to say Kurt Cobain because he died at a time where I was very impressionable. I've read his journal. But I think that as I became an adult, it's two answers, honestly. A lot of Killer Mike.
Mm.
And I fell in love with Killer Mike through Outkast, but a lot of Killer Mike. I like Killer Mike. I think Killer Mike is a very well-educated man who speaks truth to power through his music, and I respect the shit out of that. So I would say Killer Mike, and then probably toss up between Tom Morello and Dave Grohl. Um, Tom Morello, I love all of his side projects and anything that he does, I just seem to end up gravitating towards musically. And Dave Grohl, when you think about again, he's the drummer for the Tenacious D albums. He's, been the drummer for
Queens of
is
the
it
Stone
Queens of the
Age.
Stone Age? Yeah, Queens of the Stone Age. He's just such a unique musical talent. And because I grew up in the grunge era and I do love grunge music, Dave Grohl is it's very important that we keep Dave Grohl safe for me because him and Eddie Vedder are the only ones we have left from that era, like the only lead singers that are still alive, which is truly tragic. But yeah, I would say it's in there. And then I would say Chris Cornell too, just because when Chris Cornell died, I was really, really upset.
Yeah.
I was very, very upset, which was weird. And we had just seen him perform because he was doing his acoustic tour. My wife and I went, and like three months later, he was dead. And that was very difficult because I love Chris Cornell.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
I apologize.
No, it's all right. Don't apologize.
Mhm.
But speaking of Dave Grohl, the Foo Fighters were in Manchester
Oh,
last Friday, so like what, 9 days ago, and they,
yeah.
they did a one-off surprise gig, and it was at a venue that held about 1,000 people, and the
Wow.
tickets went for £99, so about, yeah,
That's
probably
actually,
similar.
I mean,
And you couldn't buy it; you had to go down to the venue to buy the tickets. And I found
oh, I
out
like
about
that
it
though.
like
A little late
there
though.
was, yeah, no way I was getting down there, but I've
No
seen
chance.
videos from it, and it
I
looks
like
amazing.
I like the idea of going back to just selling tickets at the ticket booth. There
Yeah,
is something about that I do kind of long for because that dude growing up that was how you got tickets to shows. Like when I was growing up, that was how I got tickets to see shows. So I wouldn't mind going back to that because the ticket places are such a ripoff.
yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
especially at least here. I don't know how it is over there, but
Yeah,
they are a
it's a
huge
sham.
huge ripoff here. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolute fans. You'll not be surprised that this show is not sponsored by any ticket selling any company. Hang on.
Bummer. Bummer.
Uh, Lou, the high fidelity mixtape test. You're making a mixtape for someone special.
Mm.
What is track number one on that all important mixtape?
Boy, that's a really good question. So I would go one of two ways. It depends who the person is. If it was sort of a romantic thing, right? If we're
Hmm.
talking Lou, Lou's trying to be, I'm very happily married, so this isn't a thing. I would maybe go with like Allison by Elvis Costello, something that's a little moody, a little brooding, so that she's like, "Ooh, he's very deep and emotional." Because Allison is again, it's a song kind of about loss of, and I love Elvis Costello. My wife and I, our wedding song is well, it's one part Elvis Costello and one part the B-52s, but it's a conversation for another day. And then the other part of me would do maybe Angels of the Silence by Counting Crows, just because I want the mixtape to start off with a little bit of a pop. And I feel like that song has a nice giddy up out the gate. Kick the mixtape off with a little bit of a
Yeah,
jam.
bit
Yeah,
of, bit
yeah.
of zest at the start.
Hmm.
Why
Hmm.
not?
Hmm.
Luke, we've had some interesting names on here so far, so I'm quite interested in this
Sure.
next one. What would be your fantasy band lineup, or hip hop crew, or DJ
Oh, I
event?
can't do hip hop. I'm just gonna go with band. I can't do a hip hop group. I'll just sit here and name people. So okay, all right. So like a five piece? Do I get a
Whatever
singer,
you want.
two guitars, bass, drums? All right, that's what we'll go with. We'll
You
go.
could you could
Because
go
I'll
full
have to
White
narrow it
Stripes
down.
and just have a guitarist and a drummer.
No, I can't do that. I
Entitled
want
to
to.
you.
I want to try to maximize. Okay, so I would go. I would want Chris Cornell to sing, to be the lead singer, but then I would also want Prince to be lead guitarist and singer. So that's Chris Cornell and Prince. Wait, do they have to be alive? Because I
No,
started with two
no,
dead
no, no,
people. Oh,
no.
okay, 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 okay. And then I would go Tom Morello because I feel like Tom Morello, Prince, and Chris Cornell would make music that would honestly make my face melt. I would probably like I would weep openly into tears. Honorable mention to Jack White. I think Jack White with Tom Morello is a project that still hasn't happened that I need to happen. Anyway, but I'm gonna go with Chris Cornell and Prince, and then Prince, kind of helping with backup vocals, and then Morello at guitar. For bass, I'm not gonna go Rage. I will go Les Claypool. I love Primus, and I think that Les Claypool would give us a little funk. I love a little funk in the mix. And drums, I gotta go Dave Grohl. How do I not go with Dave Grohl at drums? So my band would be Cornell, Prince, Morello, Claypool, and Dave Grohl. That's a pretty good band. That band would probably wail, I hope, or they'd be terrible. I'd feel bad putting them together.
I
But
think Prince is gonna have to issue
I
with
think
the
that's what
backing
I would go
vocals.
with. Yeah, I think that's what Prince as your backup singer is pretty okay for a band, I feel like. So
Yeah, man.
okay.
Lou, is there a song that teleports you back to like a time or a place that really makes you smile?
All the time, man. That it's probably easier to do like an album even more than a song, but yeah, there are lots of songs that I have attachments to, whether it's people or places
Yeah.
or specific moments in my life. A specific memory that I just thought of that I guess I just would like to share, but it's a whole album, which is Radiohead's Kid A. Not necessarily the best Radiohead album, but that summer that it came out was the first summer that I worked in professional like theater. It was a summer stock, but it was a
Mm.
summer theater. It was the first summer, and that was also the summer I fell in love with the Tenacious D album. That summer was a very formative summer for me with music because it was the first time that I had met theater people who also liked regular music, which was cool because normally theater, if you don't know this about musical theater people, they mostly just listen to musicals. And I wasn't like that. And so this was cool to be with other professional performers who also liked. That was the first summer I had heard System of a Down. It was a very important summer for me musically, but that specific album though, um, like as soon as it starts, I I'm brought back to that apartment complex that I don't even think exists anymore, in northern Idaho, which was where I worked at that time. So that's the memory I guess I would like to share and give a little shout out to Radiohead Kid A because I feel like it's not one of the more beloved Radiohead albums, but it's cool to just put on and just kind of listen and have on as you're doing things in the house.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a bit of Radiohead
Mhm.
around here. We do.
Sure, sure.
Lou, what is an album recommendation for tonight's listening for the lovely listeners and myself?
Oh. Oh, well, so if it's for you, I mean, are you listening by yourself, homie? Because that will strongly dictate what I recommend. Would you be with your son?
It's for
Would you be with
everybody.
Elliot? Would you be with this is for everybody? Hmm. What would I recommend for everybody? I mean, I want everybody to listen to Killer Mike. I tell you what, I'll recommend if you like hip hop, I'll do two recommendations because again, I feel like
Yeah.
I do like to have two. I would listen to his most recent album that he won the Grammy for. It's called Michael. It came out maybe a year or two ago because Run the Jewels, I would recommend Run the Jewels for everybody, but Run the Jewels, there's a language like it's you got to strap in. There's a it's aggressive on the language. But I would say that if you're into rap, if that's not really your bag, you can never go wrong with the first Audio Slave album. If you're into rock, it
Yeah.
starts with Cochise, and
I love that song.
for me, pound for pound, Cochise is maybe a top three Morello riff. That opening riff in Cochise is, ooh, it's nasty.
Yeah, it
So I
slaps.
and that album starts with that. So like it's a great album. So I would say either of those two. Again, if you're feeling the hip hop and you don't know Killer Mike, Michael is, oh man, what a great album. What a talented rapper Killer Mike is. So
Lovely.
yeah, yeah.
Right, Lou, onto the quick fire round. Pew pew.
All right,
So,
man.
what is your wrestling, boxing entrance music or walk-up song?
Oh geez. All right. So again, I've talked about it a lot, but it would be a Morello for sure, and it would be a song called "Hold the Line." So it's Tom Morello with a I don't know what he if he's a rock or a rapper, but his grandson is what he goes by, lowercase g. But it's called "Hold the Line," and if you've never heard it, please you should go listen to it, and you'll understand why it is a really cool walk up song. You'll feel me. You'll be like, oh, this dude because I'm kind of small and scrappy. I'm not a big, I still look like I haven't grown into my man body. I'm 42 and I'm still in the body of like a 19-year-old. So like, you got to play something that's a little tougher, a little bit above your weight class. So I think Hold the Line would do that for me and make people think that I was real
Nice.
tough. Yeah, yeah.
What's your favorite cover song?
Mm. Sorry, I took a drink mid thought there. This one's kind of easy. It's Nothing Compares to You by Chris Cornell. And what I
Oh,
love about that is, yeah, see, you didn't see what I love about that is
no.
that's a Prince song, a song that Prince wrote
Yeah.
that Sinead O'Connor did a beautiful version of that still to this day holds up. One of the most beautiful songs ever done. Chris Cornell's version is like a man peeling his soul open for you in real time. It's soul crushingly good. And it also, I love Prince. And so, like, what I think is amazing about someone like Prince, a talent like Prince, is that his version is the worst version in this scenario. His version of his own song is worse than everyone else's because everyone else's is fucking outstanding. So kudos to Prince. I love him. We're all worse off without him.
Yeah, man.
So Chris Cornell, though, Nothing Compares to You. If you've never heard it, please do yourself a favor, but don't do it. Don't do it in front of people you want to like hold your emotions in front of because you might not be able to. That's a promise.
Give it a try. Just give it a try.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the last gig that you went to?
I think the last one was probably the Backstreet Boys at the Sphere. I think that was the last one. It was either that or Wu-Tang. They were 2 weeks apart. I know that. So either way, I saw one of the better shows I've seen in my life. So I either saw Wu-Tang with Run the Jewels or I saw the Backstreet Boys at the Sphere. So either way, pretty good stuff.
Cool. What's the first song you play at a house party if you're invited to one?
All right, this one I can play Run the Jewels. So here's what I would do though. I would do Oh, this is such a cool opportunity too, because I would never. I used to DJ weddings for a hot minute, but they always have like set lists. So like I would do DJ Shadow, Nobody Speak, featuring Run the Jewels. Unfortunately, those lyrics start a little rough, but I love that beat and I love kind of the pickup. I think it's a great song and a good like start to a party. Just kind of get everybody grooving a little bit.
Yeah, man.
And then you kick it from there.
Is that the same DJ Shadow that did Organ Donor?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the same DJ
Yeah,
Chef. Yeah, he does is work with like everything he does is a collaboration, for the most part. But I love DJ Shadow. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
class.
he's good stuff. Yeah, yeah.
What's your guilty pleasure track that you secretly love?
I mean, there are a bunch. I've already openly talked about going to see Backstreet Boys, but no, the one that, the one that I know I should feel ashamed about. Like if I'm in the car and my wife is with me and it comes on and I like turn the volume up, I know I should feel shame about is Limp Bizkit. And specifically, if I have to give a specific song, I'll say Nookie just because I should feel shame about liking that song in
I love
particular.
it. I love Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, I do too. And it's because I grew up again, like my most formative music years were the 90s. And so it's not my fault. Limp Bizkit, Corn, Stained, all that. None of that is my fault. It's just what was cool at the time. Britney Spears was also cool at the exact same time. We did not know. I'll tell you what, Maddie, I'm going to close with this last thought for everybody. The 90s, the first half of the 90s in America, in music,
Hmm?
is some of the best music that's ever been created. Like we created brand new genres in the early 90s. And then in the back half of the 90s is some of the worst music that ever happened. Bar none, hands down. It's boy bands, Limp Biscuits. It's not great. But like in the early 90s, it's grunge and hip hop and R&B really start to take shape and form. Pop or punk starts to come back and kind of take new shape. And then the back 90s, you're just like, ooh, oh no. It's not great. It's not great. The Macarena was in there in that back
Oh,
half of the
don't.
90s. Not good. I'm just
No.
telling you, man. Not great. We shouldn't be proud of the back half of the 90s, really. But Limp Bizkit is the one I certainly know that I should feel shame about. But also, buddy, Fred Durst, man.
I absolve you of sins. Because Limp
Thank you.
Bizkit. Love it. Lou, guess what?
Is that it? Are
Done.
we
We've got
done?
7 minutes left.
Oh, okay. Well, let's talk about, I don't know. No,
Gotta
that's
wrap
good.
this
I'm
up.
glad. I'm honestly, no, I'm glad. Honestly, I'm glad because I don't know if it was obvious, but I can be long-winded. So I'm
Oh,
glad we wrapped up. I'm glad we wrapped up in time.
Nah, we're good. We're good. Lou, what's coming up for you? Any projects, gigs, or events coming up?
No, not in particular. I've been playing, I am always playing around with stuff kind of behind the scenes. I have an idea for a musical that one of my cohorts from the sci-fi podcast and I have been kind of dabbling with maybe doing. I don't know if I really want to do that at this phase of my life, but it's a fun idea. So I'm always open to new ideas. If you have podcast ideas, I'm always open to helping get other people get podcasts stuff. I just got a podcast going at my day job, so like nothing in particular, pal.
Okay. Where can the people follow you who do not listen to the Hall of Very Good podcast and hear your beautiful sign off? Where can
Oh,
the
that's a great
listeners
question.
follow
So,
you?
I'm not, you won't find much of me on social media these days. I mean, I am on Facebook. If you try to friend me, there's two of me though now because somebody hacked my original Facebook, which is very aggravating. But like if you friend me, I'll probably friend you back. Like I don't post a ton though. If you really want to find me again. There are ways. But I'm on Facebook and then I'm also on Blue Sky at Lucifer Olsen. But I don't do the X. I got off that a couple years ago, so those are the only
Yeah.
two places you can find me now. But if you find me on Facebook, and you get the right one, I'll friend you.
If not,
I'm
you're
down.
getting sold some really strange substances from a Lou Olsen.
Yeah, yeah. There you go.
And that's it for today's episode of Life in Stereo podcast. Huge thanks again to Lou Olsen for sharing a soundtrack to his life so far. I loved talking about the Savannah Bananas. Like we have this shared love of baseball and baseball cards. So thank you again for sharing those stories with the listeners. And if you enjoyed this conversation, please follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from. And why not share it with somebody who loves music just as much as you do? You can also reach me on Facebook by looking for Life in Stereo Podcast in the search bar and looking for that little chimp with the headphones on. And that's it. That's all from me. Thanks for listening. Until next time, keep spinning the records that make your life sing.